Hello and welcome to Dad's Agile Podcast, the original footballing podcast for dads by dads. Cal, good evening. How are we getting on?
Yeah, good mate. How are you? How's your week been?
Not so well. It's been busy. Actually the past few weeks I've been doing a lot of DIY work because obviously I've been off work. So it's nice to have a week where it's a bit relaxed. But yeah, it's been good. What about yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, just grafting at work. It's coming to that end of term, so the kids are all over the gaff. So it's trying to keep them in line. But yeah, not too bad. You know what it's like.
Yeah,
it's been too hard to work.
Go on, mate.
Why has Kerry got you working? It's been too hard to work. Should be relaxing in the sun, shouldn't you? Enjoying your time off.
I've decorated an ensuite, a bedroom, a downstairs toilet. We're ordering Connie's new bed upgrade. She's gone from a cot bed to a big girl's bed now. So so we've been doing all that. So I'm sure
you have to start charging her, mate.
Well, I'm actually paying her to her own company. So, but as you all know by the title, we're all kindly welcomed with a special guest this evening. It is the West Ham current academy coach and former Arsenal coach, Mark Phillips. Mark, how are we getting on, mate? We all right?
Yeah, not bad at all. I've been no one's special guest in life.
Well, you're definitely our special guest this evening. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for spending a lot of your spare time with us and chat about all things West Ham and Arsenal. So it'll be great. And obviously your family. So whereabouts are you at the moment?
I'm around my daughters in near Bailey. Moved a couple of months ago. And I'm around here with her and my missus and all the kids.
Yeah, decent. Yeah, my old man lives in Rayleigh, so we're not too far away at all. So, but yeah, no, that's all good. That's all good. So, tell us about your family setup then, Mark. I mean, how many kids have you got, and what was your sort of job when you was raising your kids, and how did you come in love with West Ham?
Be careful, Mark. He'll ask you your bank details next.
That won't do no good, I can assure you. Well, when I became I was about 28 with my daughter. Now non-verbal
Sorry, Mark. We didn't hear a word of that. I think it's keep cutting in and out.
Mark, have you got your Wi-Fi on?
Yeah. It's actually on a full service of Wi-Fi. But as I've said earlier, if it comes to technology, it's wrong fella. But I think it's all got all the hearing me, seeing me, and all that. Okay, so I don't know what's going on.
Oh, what's going on here? Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but let's try again. I'll try muting myself, and then you can roll with it. Okay, so from the top, Mark.
As I say, I've got two kids. I've got my daughter who's 37. Her name's Romy. She's a teacher, and I've got a son called Jack who's going to be 35 in October, who's non-verbal autistic. And my daughter Romy's got two kids, Lily and Charlie. And I'm around their house now in Holbridge, in Essex.
Nice.
Decent. So, so you said you was 28 when you had your first.
I think let's work it out. She's going to be 37, and I'm there 3. So yeah, I think it's about that. 28. Yes. Yeah. She's born in 19. Yeah, 37, something like that. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was a cab driver. I was supposed to be a London taxi driver. I was driving a black cab for 2 years, and I think when my kids were born, I was a London taxi driver. Yeah.
You nearly got him in big trouble there, giving his daughter's ages out, Adam. I think he's trying to stitch him up. That's what you're trying to do. Mark, don't listen to me. He's trying to do you over.
But being a cab driver, the only thing I weren't bad at school is matter of use until I got this age. My brain's a bit fuzzy now.
How long was you a cabbie for?
I think it was 22 years, something like that, 22, 23 years. I got out as a cab driver, what year was it? 92. I've got the years wrong. If I got out in 92, I was 31 by then. So, and my daughter was already 4 when I got out as a cab driver, so I'm lying here. I was doing the knowledge when she was born, and I was doing the knowledge when my son was born. But it seems like all the...
And then how did you transition from being a cab driver into your coaching?
I've always been involved in football with some... Always been involved in football, grass. Morning.
Not getting none of it.
Like a bus.
Cal, mute your one. Right, try again, Mark.
It's gone nice and quiet now. Can you hear me? Can you hear me all right? Where was we up to? What have you got of me?
Talk about your how you got from transition from your black cabbie into your coaching.
Yeah, when I was a taxi driver, I wasn't not doing anything in football. I was always either playing football or coaching someone or coaching my mate's team, my mate's boys' teams and things like that. So it was just sort of running alongside me cab driving. And then I got offered a job. I took a team to Arsenal, a grassroots team called Pegasus, used to play out of Hornchurch. And I took them to Arsenal. I think we was under 11s. And we played up an age group, played Arsenal's under 12s, and we beat them 2-1. And Steve Bold was at Arsenal at the time, and he said, "Oh, who coaches this team?" They got a reasonable idea of the game, and they said it was me, blah blah blah. And then they offered me the chance to go in and work for Arsenal. And a geezer I know was my mate. Actually, I didn't know he was a scout at Arsenal. And he said, "I'll come to Arsenal. You know, I really look after you and all that sort of stuff." And I said, "I can't have an Arsenal shirt on. It's ridiculous. I'm a West Ham." But it was a step into professional football. So from there, I worked for Arsenal for 3.5 years. And Tony Carr, West Ham, come in for me, told someone that they was looking for and he said, "Oh, the geezer at West Ham, the geezer at Arsenal's under 11s coach, has put for West Ham. He'll come here." And the rest is history, as they say.
That's interesting. So what sort of...
So hold on. So
right, sorry, this is Arsenal side. Sorry,
hold on, Mark. What you're trying to say is Arsenal taught you everything you needed to know, and then you went back to West Ham.
Not really. When I went to Arsenal, I already knew everything, and I was just teaching Arsenal coaches Listen, Arsenal was a good club to work for, academy-wise, and it was a good, to get me schooling if you want. It was good. They looked after me well. Got no animosity towards Arsenal. Didn't have then, haven't now. Quite like Arsenal. No problem. I couldn't have done the same if it was either Tottenham or Millwall. Not for me at all. But Arsenal, and Liam Brady. Pick that name off the floor for me, will you? Liam Brady was quite disappointed to see me go. That's what he said at the time anyway. But he said, "I understand it. I know West Ham's your club." And he said, "I can only wish you the best." And even if I see Liam, I ain't seen Liam a few years, but when I was to see him, he said, "Oh, how you doing?" He knows that West Ham was the right thing for me to do.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you about making that jump for to go from a minnow club to a bigger club, especially on an academy level. So, what sort of names that you coached at Arsenal that would have been playing today or would have made a career for themselves?
Well, I was doing the 11s, but I used to help out on a Friday night doing the 15. So I coached Jack Wilshere, who was a big West Ham fan at the time, which is quite ironic. It's quite mad. Jack's old man was West Ham. Jack was West Ham. And we used to laugh about West Ham and being at Arsenal and things like that. There's another player, he never really made it. He ended up going, I think he played at Northampton, a kid called Mark Randall, who was a good player at Arsenal at the time. And I think Alex Awomni was about, but younger, but I never coached him. But Jack, I definitely coached Jack Wilshere. I know Jack now because obviously he came to West Ham and played against him in the Youth Cup final when he was coaching Arsenal's under 18. So, and funny enough, I went to the one time I went in Deck's box in a European game. I think it was Bayern Munich, can't remember. And Jack was just sitting to the right of me. He went, "What are you doing over here?" I said, obviously I'm with Deck and that because he's sort of Arsenal now, Jack, isn't he? But as a youngster, Jack Wilshere was West Ham, believe you me.
Do you think he would? Obviously, he left Arsenal Academy, didn't he? And he was in terms of managerial sense, because he was on the losing end of the 5-1 winning our FA Cup youth final, and he jumped ship to Norwich, and he took over a temporary charge, and now he's been released. Do you think there's any capacity for him to? Where do you think his next role will be in terms of coaching?
I think he wants to be a first team manager. I think Norwich might have been straight in at the Championship, might be a little bit too high for him. But I think he will be a first team manager, maybe Division 1, Division 2. I think that's where he sees himself going. He's got great knowledge of the game, Jack. Really has got good knowledge. I don't know if he's a manager, because some people might just be set out to be coaches. He might be one of those, but you don't know until you're in there at the deep end, how it's going to go. He's got a great knowledge, and he's got good experience for being the Arsenal under-18s manager, I think, for 3 years in the end, and then going to Norwich. So he's ready to go if the right job, comes along for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Mark, how long have you been at West Ham now then?
18 years. Yeah.
You need a testimonial, don't you?
Oh, Millwall at home. No, I'm joking. Don't mention that.
No, we'll cut it. Yeah, I mean, Tony Carr got a testimonial, didn't he, for his one at Bonin? But it's a shame that you won't see testimonials no more because of the London Stadium situation. But like I say, in terms of coaching and stuff, like the longevity, that you're the constant in terms of the academy, aren't you? I mean, from the young age at, let's say, under 11s, even at West Ham level, all the way up to under 21s. You've always got given a lot of good positive feedback from players that have gone through that process. And what was the, other than Declan, what was the other shining lights that come through that you worked with?
Well, I think Josh Callum was a fantastic player, still is a fantastic player at Burnley. Grady Diangana, players I've worked closely with. I'm going to talk about Ben Johnson. There's lots of other players, There's Jade Mingy at Stockport County, Jaden Ferrier at Stockport County, Carl Norwell, who's just left Stockport County. Seems like I'm a coach of Stockport County. Weird. And players in the game, Lewis Page, people like that have gone on and have good careers. Reece Burke, I've coached, all of them, and then always follow their career. And I keep it, weirdly enough, I keep in touch with all of them. I went to Josh Cullen's wedding last year in Lake Como, so I'm one of those sort of sad anorak coaches who does stay friendly with the players. They can't shake me off, probably. I'm not sure.
I got a question for you, Mark, because I know a lot of the people that listen to this are obviously dads, and they obviously love their football. And a lot of them have got kids that are, or their dreams as well as their dad's dreams, I would say. And obviously hope their kids enjoy football. And, I suppose the dream is to play football at the highest level, but ultimately enjoy football. But working at the clubs that you have done and the capacity that you do, what is it that you look for in a young player to go to develop and then push on in what you do?
If I was going to give any advice to a dad, I'd just say make sure your son's enjoying the game, whether it's like Division 8 of the Dog and Duck League or it's in the Premier League. Make sure they're enjoying the game, because otherwise you're putting pressures on them. You don't need to be putting pressures on them. I mean, if I'm honest, when Declan first come to us when Chelsea released him and he was an under 15, I never saw an England captain or an Arsenal captain or that. You just didn't. No one's that clever. He just evolved. He just evolved with time and that. And then I can remember players you wouldn't have heard of him. There's a player called Alfie Lewis, who was an Arsenal fan, so I was at West Ham, but he had more natural ability than anyone I've ever coached. And unfortunately, he's finding it hard now to get himself to the team. So I think it's the mental attributes of a player like Declan Rice was so determined when he didn't get a professional deal and he just got a basic scholarship. I think the mental toughness is what sets you apart. But I mean, as a dad, don't put too much pressure on your lads. Give them some advice if you've played the game yourself, but make sure they're enjoying it. That's what it's about. Let them enjoy their sport. They might not become footballers, but you want them going away thinking, I really enjoyed my time. I might be, I might work in the city, but I want them to go back and say, I used to really like my Sunday football. I loved it. And that's the main thing. Don't want them going to football like football's a job. It's a chore. You want them to really enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the enjoyment in the game, that's what I liked about Dec, because you can see that he does genuinely enjoy playing football. I mean, even when obviously he's in serious mode, concentration mode for the 90 minutes, but outside it, he's still bantering and he's just enjoying the environment, isn't he? There's one story I got about Dec actually that I want to bring up, and years ago, I think when he first made his debut under Slaven Bilic, there was a lot of talk with him going in the Republic of Ireland squad. And for him, as part of his development, there was a rumour going about that he was going to go on loan to Ipswich Town because Mick McCarthy was the manager there. I stupidly tweeted it saying, I heard Declan Rice is going on loan, and he DM'd me. Rice DM'd me and he said, I don't know where you got this rumour from, mate, but my head's fully focused on the first team at West Ham. And I was like, blimey. Like, he must be confident in himself, and I'm sure, I thought, well, I'll never forget that in terms of him messaging me and proving me wrong. But yeah, I mean, that just shows the character in Declan, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've just noticed a thing at the bottom of the page here, Rich West Ham. Mark, did Steve Potts got amazed what score in Dagenham? Don't know who you are, Rich, but yes, he did. Anyway, yeah, he did. He lived opposite the Roundhouse in Beaconstree, so he did go to that school. Yeah, I mean, as I say, the one thing that stands out with Dec is his mindset, even now. I mean, and he's prepared, like answering you back as a kid. He's prepared. His personality is unbelievable. It's outstanding, and that's the main thing that sets him apart.
Yeah, absolutely. And with him coming through the ranks, obviously there was another academy player that was getting more spotlight than him, and that was Reece Oxford. And obviously, he burst onto the scene against Arsenal. Well, obviously, I saw him play in the Europa League qualifiers before that in midfield, but he obviously played against Arsenal in the Premier League and had one of the best games academy products has ever had in their debut start. So tell us about Reece then. I mean, Reece was it's a shame how his career went effectively, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's one of those you hear got too much too soon, got agents wrapped around him, got lots of speak about money and that. If you just let him play his football, Reece, he would have been a very, very good, and probably would have gone on to play for England because he had those attributes, but his head got turned by, as I say, outside influences in the game, which they're always there to live off the back of you, and that's where Dec has got an advantage with his dad. His dad's his agent, and it does give him an advantage. He was just left to concentrate on his football, and Reece was a hell of a player at the time, and we did have a good side. Yeah.
Just because you've touched on it, and it's not sort of something that we talk about much on here, but obviously they have a massive influence, agents and stuff, but obviously you've probably worked where agents were sort of just creeping in to obviously where they're like basically every day, as you say, you've got youth team players, you've got agents now. Like, how much has that actually changed the game? And do you think, because I know 15-year-olds who are like, I need to get an agent, I need to get an agent, I need to get an agent. Like, how big of a problem do you think it is, or how big of a benefit do you think it is?
A benefit? I don't think it's a benefit to the game whatsoever. I think it's to the detriment of the game. it might be to a financial benefit to certain young players. I mean, what you just said it there, players of 15 are talking about having agents. It's actually against the laws of the game. You're not allowed to have an agent until you're over 16. It just shows you how much they turned a blind eye to it. I mean, you're talking to the wrong man, really, if you want to talk about agents, because I'm not a lover of agents whatsoever. I don't think they put a lot into the game and just want to take a lot out of it. But, you know, when you're a player and you get to, you know, you're a first team player and you're 20 age and a plus, you need a good contract, then you need an agent. You need an agent to look over it and make sure you're just, you know, what you should be getting for the level you're at. But I think when you're an academy player, having an agent should absolutely, well, it is against the laws of the game, but it doesn't get stamped out enough. Not for me at all, but there you go.
And just another question as well, Mark. Obviously, I know you said about Declan Rice and what he was like around the club, and you know, his influences of his dad. How much of an influence do the first team players have on the youth team players? Do you have a lot of players come down, speak to him, or mentors, or, you know, like, because, you know, a lot of people used to be like, a lot of white scholar boys used to be assigned to a first team player to clean boots and stuff, but then you'd also have like little conversations, that sort of mentoring. Does that still go on, or do they have a bigger role within in it now?
You're not allowed now to get younger players to clean pros' boots or anything like that. That was ruled out. I don't know, for some reason. Some sort of no, I won't make any political comment, but things have changed. But I think it's more a case of if you're a youth player and you get to go across and train and play with the first team, if you've got the right sort in that first team and they remember that happening themselves. I mean, fortunately for Dec, he had Mark Noble. Mark Noble really looked after him, and they're really close still now to this day. So Mark Noble really looked after him. And the same with Dec, really. Now, do you know who Max Downham is? Max Downham is, I think he's 15, 16 now at Arsenal, and he's training and playing up with the first team. And Dec is sort of doing a similar sort of job looking after him. And he is a hell of a prospect. I went to see Max Downham play about 18 months ago, an England under-17s game. I think he was 14, 15. And he was head and shoulders the best player on the pitch, giving 2 years away, which is given at that age is a lot. And he was giving it. So if everything goes right with Max Downham, he's going to be a hell of a player for Arsenal, and he's going to be a hell of a player for England. And even Dec said to me, he comes up and trains with us, and he's decent. And if Dec's saying he's decent, he's decent.
Yeah, they're already talking about him, obviously being a full-time sort of squad player in and around for Arsenal already. I mean, there's already rumours about him going to Real Madrid and Barcelona apparently after him, and I think it's it's always the big European teams, but apparently, you know, even they were looking at trying to take him off our books. But yeah, I mean, the rumours around Arsenal for him is just absolutely ridiculous. You know, if we can keep hold of him, that's the trouble, isn't it? It's like everything else. But I mean, it's so nice to hear that you've got people like Noble, you know, that pass that sort of knowledge down or look after him, to Dec then doing it at Arsenal. Obviously, I know you said about yourself and how much you still are in a lot of your players' lives. Like, obviously, I know you're obviously coaching them, but how much do you, as a coach, you sort of how they perceive, how they project themselves, how they behave, and how, you know, good habits. Do you still touch on that in within your coaching and discipline, I suppose, and discipline, I suppose. Do you get involved in that?
Yeah, as I said earlier, I mean, one of my players I'm still close with is Josh Callum, who plays for Burnley. I think Josh is 27, 28. I haven't coached him for 10 years, but I've still got a relationship with him, and the relationships are important. So you do build both on and off the pitch. I happen to be friendly with Josh Cullen's dad, Tony. I happen to be friendly with Dec's dad. You know what I'm saying? You get to know the parents, and then you're involved in the family. It's one of the reasons I'm still close with Dec's family. Is Dec moved across from Kingston. When Chelsea released Dec, he had to come and live in a house in Romford to play for West Ham. and his mum was concerned about him, being right across London. East London's different to what they know in Kingston. She was worried about him in that environment, and I said to her, don't worry, I'll look after him. And I think they always remember that. That's why they look upon me quite favourably. The Rice family, I think they quite like me.
Well, that's what they tell you.
Christmas card every year, anyway. I don't know.
Nice.
Yeah, well, there's one way to secure £100 million worth of investment, and you're looking at the man sitting here right now.
And that's still our price.
Oh, don't give me all that rubbish.
Can I actually, Mark? I do want to bring it up because Adam's brought it up. Do you obviously we paid 105 mil, and we say it every week. We must say it every week because it gets brought up every week. I just still can't believe it. I just cannot believe it. As someone in the building, in the house, at West Ham, do you not sit there and go, they've got an absolute steal? Do you not sit there and go, what have we done?
Well, obviously, I'm going to say that because I'm really close to Declan, and I wanted him to play at West Ham for the rest of his career. Of course, it made me laugh a little bit. My brother-in-law's an Arsenal season ticket holder who does like Declan and rates Declan. But when Declan first went there, you have to admit the first couple of games, some of your fans are going, "Oh, we've done our money. What have we done? £105 million. He's not worth it," and all that. I was just laughing. Not worth it. He's worth double that, mate. And I was to say to him, talking about he's not worth. I said we'll have him back then. We'll buy him back for 104 if you want. It's just it's ridiculous. It's an absolute. But loads of people have got their own opinions on the game and how much someone's worth and all that. You actually nicked him off us, to be fair,
mate. You're talking to a believer. I 100% agree. And any of them Arsenal fans that said that back in the early doors, they're just absolutely foolish. Honestly, I cannot speak more highly. I honestly believe he has had more of an impact on Arsenal than you talk about like the Man City players coming over and all that at the first with Arteta and even Arteta coming in. I just think he is special. He is special. I just think he's unreal. And then you say about him playing for West Ham for the whole of his career. I honestly hope. Again, he's another player I really hope that we can keep hold of, because if we don't win something, he wants to go and win something. And Real Madrid's, Man City's, whoever the biggest clubs here at the moment are going to want him. And I would love him to be an Arsenal legend. I think I want him to be an Arsenal legend so bad.
Well, West Ham might get taken over soon, Callum. We'll buy him back, and then he can win the Premier League with us. So.
Do you know what's really sad? You're probably I'm a bit worried, but you're probably right.
I mean, I don't know how much you know of this, and it's not a secret. Dec had the choice of signing for Arsenal or Man City. Man City and he was always going to Arsenal. He said Man City was not for him. It was just would he have been starting every week? He wanted to go there and really, Arsenal haven't won the league for a while, and he wanted to be one of the first to win the league. So he didn't want to leave London either. So that was one of the reasons that he went to. Last time, in fact, I see him went around his house a couple of months ago. Went around his house, had a kick. His boy's not a bad player, by the way. His boy's going to be a good player. Trust me. He's only 2 or 3. He knows to strike the ball. But anyway, he was saying to me, he was asking me loads of questions about West Ham, as he always does, and about the coaches and the players. He's always interested in us. He says, West Ham's his club now and all that. And he said, when I'm over 30, 31, 32, maybe I could come back. I said to him, we wouldn't want you. But there you go.
Mate, you said it. He probably still do a job. Mate.
I would.
And you can have him back for 100 million then as well.
Yeah.
Mate, that's unreal.
For me, I wouldn't have even taken the 105 million. I would have let him see out his contract. Because I thought, I know it sounds a bit, like I say, romantic and obviously business sense aside, I get why West Ham sold him, but if he stayed the extra 2 years and we had Europa League in that season, we could have won that really if we had Declan Rice in that squad, and we would be in Champions League football, and then we would have matched his ambition. And it's all ifs and buts, isn't it? I mean, for me personally, I would have let him go for a free, but that's just my opinion.
the likes of me and you, Adam, West Ham are the biggest club in the world. By what? Why would you ever want to leave West Ham? But the reality of it is, we're not the biggest club in the world. We're not in the Champions League. We're not even trying to win the Premier League. So you can't knock Deck for it. I mean, his wages were quadrupled from what he was on basic. So, you know, anyone who has a go at him, West Ham, no, it's not for me. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. They pay for their money. They buy their tickets. But you know, Deck's different class, and I'd always wish him well, whoever he played for, unless it was Tottenham.
Yeah, do you know what? Yeah, I've actually never thought of it like that, Adam. What you've just said about would he have stayed, and like I say, what he could have done, and if you built a team around him, even if you saw his contract out, because like I say, you got robbed anyway with the money anyway, so you might as well just seen his contract out. Like you could have been in a completely different. You know, I mean, you could have been cementing top, 4 or 5. You know what I mean? Like, I've never even thought of it like this. It's nuts, really, isn't it? You know, I mean, I'm not gutted or anything. I'm buzzing, but but yeah, I've never actually thought of it like it could have been a completely different story for West Ham.
Yeah, 100%. Like when you think we sold Declan Rice for less than what a year's Premier League commercial revenue is. What is it, £128 million? At the time we sold it for 105. Like, just stay in the Premier League another season and you've got your £105 million still, haven't you? Like, but it is what it is. Like, he obviously he wants to play. He's not saying he's impatient, but the hunger to play at the top level, especially after playing in European finals for England, and then being in that amongst that camp where everyone's like winning trophies, winning this, winning that, and he's sitting there playing for West Ham thinking, when's my time going to come? But now he's at Arsenal and he's still thinking, when's my time going to come? So.
Unfortunately, it actually hurts, but you're right. I mean, hopefully, saying that, Mark, what's your thoughts on this season? Because we've not even touched on. I've been speaking about the season to come. Obviously, someone who's in the know. What do you think will be happening this year?
What 25-26 season coming up? It's very difficult to say. I mean, are Man City going to come bouncing back? You don't know. Are Arsenal going to, spend money? I don't think we're going to be in the top 5 or 6, if I'm honest with you. I really don't. But it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. I mean, this time last year, I wouldn't have predicted Liverpool winning the league, if I'm honest. So they did. So it can always come and surprise you. I really don't know. I haven't got a clue where this season goes. I just, I would just rather see. Everyone goes on about the Premier League and how good it is and how fantastic it is. Sometimes I think it's a bit samey. It's the same 5 or 6, apart from the time Leicester won it. It's the same 5 or 6 in the top 5 or 6. You probably don't mind because you're one of those 5 or 6. But really, the rest of the league, including my team, which is West Ham United, we're all just making up the numbers a little bit. The bottom 3 are going to be the top 3 who come up from the Championship. The rest of them are making numbers up. Is that good for competition? Is it good for the game? I'm not so sure it is. So, although everyone likes to see and Sky, the Premier League is fantastic, it's great. Is it? Is it really? I mean, years ago, I would never miss a game. Any live game that was on telly, I'd always watch it. Now, I do miss a few games because they're I know who's going to win. So, I don't think the Premier League's quite as good as it's all cracked up to be.
What's your answer to that, though? Do you think, is that investing more in the youth team and getting more youth team players in, or sharing the money about in the sense of being able to buy players? What do you think the solution to make it more competitive is?
The solution will be that the rules that the Premier League have got in place and the voting rules, because you all get a vote if you're in the Premier League to bring different things into it. I think they should be adhered because whether you like it or not, the Premier League turned a blind eye to Man City, to Chelsea, not Arsenal, I'm not saying it because you're on here, but to skullduggery. At youth level, it's ridiculous the things they get away with. It's madness. I mean, they get players from all around the country. I mean, someone I brought into the game, a recruitment fella called Carl Walker, left West Ham, and now he's at Man City, and he's head of recruitment at Manchester City. Great, really good kid, like him. But Man City are nicking players from lots of clubs down south, and agents are sorting out from West Ham and things like that. it should be stopped because they're just going to have all the best players, and everyone else is just making the numbers up. In the end, there'll be no competition. It'll just be boring, and it's gone a little bit like that. And that's just not to say great because I'm West Ham. It's just a fact.
Yeah, I mean, you make a good point because I recently saw, I don't know the bloke's name, but Chelsea are looking at buying a 13, I think it's 13, don't quote me, I'm sure it's a young player anyway. I'm sure it's a 13-year-old, and it's the most expensive 13-year-old ever, and it's like £750,000. They're looking at trying to buy this. I think it's from Blackburn, the kid. I mean, how do you compete with that? Blackburn, that's just solid money, isn't it? Like, that's just coming in 13, it's money in the bank, isn't it? As you just say, it's criminal, really.
It actually is, but really, there's more than £750,000 invested. They're then going to buy that boy's family a house in Surrey, in Cobham, something like that. Then he's offered a professional contract when he reaches. So that's probably a £5 or £6 million investment in it, and it's ethically wrong. But I mean, if Chelsea would say they're not going to do it, then Man City would do it. It's just ethically wrong for the game. I mean, I love football. I love the game of football, and I think it's been won over or infested with just the money side of it, and it doesn't please me at all.
I mean, talking of which, because I'm going to upset Adam now, but Adam absolutely hates what's going on at West Ham. Yeah, and he's been talking about this takeover for about 6 years, and I've only known him 2. But he's talking about the ground, the 2026, the ground's up for grabs. Someone's stepping down. What else happening, Adam? Because I can't. What else happening?
Hold on, let me just get my tin hat on, and then I'll tell you about it. Now, the idea of it, Mark. Obviously, I'm not expecting you to answer this because of it's your job right now. But in my eyes, it almost feels like it's set. The club is kind of levelling out at the moment and then preparing for a big summer next summer, and there's going to be a lot of transition in place. Obviously, you've got the new kit deal, like from a commercial point of view, effectively you've got a new kit deal with New Balance, which is next season. You've got the London Stadium long-term lease agreement that could come into place 999 years, like what Man City have got, which will get full control of the London Stadium to make stadium alterations. There's potential investment opportunities there with David Gold shares becoming available. There's new sponsorships and whatnot. There's talk about a £100 million training facility in Barleylands, Basildon. There's all these sort of rumours and that flying about, and it always kind of ties in to next summer, and it always feels like they're withholding. He's smirking. he's like, I don't see it, I don't believe it. If you're smirking, that's the answer. All I need to know in my conspiracy theory. But it almost feels like there's a bigger project and a bigger plan at the club than what a lot of the fans don't know about. That's what Callum's alluding to. I don't know what your answer is going to be on that, but
the answer is going to be like what I said earlier. To me and you, West Ham are the biggest club in the world. The biggest club in the world to us. We can't see nothing beyond that. It's all about West Ham. Unfortunately, we're not the biggest club in the world. We're not the biggest investors in the world. And it may be what you're wishfully wanting to happen. What you're talking about is moving to Barleylands and having the stadium ourselves and having millionaire owners to really invest and to push up us to be one of them top 5 or 6, clubs. I don't think it's going to happen. But I hope you're right. I'd love us before I died to see us be up there in the top of the Premier League, but I don't think it'll happen. I think we'll always be as we are. We have got, Callum won't agree with this, and he shouldn't. We have got the best supporters in the world, because when you think about Arsenal fans go, we haven't won the league for 20 years. We've never won the league. And look at how many fans we got. Look how many fans we took to Prague. Look at how many fans we take everywhere every week. And really, when you look at our record in the league, we ain't that good, are we? We're not very good. But our fans are. They're there week in, week out. So I'll fight. No, I won't fight anyone because that's not my game. But what I'm saying is, supporters-wise, we are up there with the best. As for winning the Premier League, I can't see it happening in my lifetime, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, the only way West Ham are in with a chance of winning that league is if the European Super League happens and the top 6 clubs leave leaving it an open game for the rest. But I've always seen West Ham as being the seventh club. I think it's going to be even less than that now. I mean, when you get your top six, it's always like, right, we need to aim to be seventh because we want to be the best of the rest. And that's where I think West Ham should be, is around that seventh mark at the moment. I would have expected that last year because of the transition with having Lopetegui in there, the money we spent, and the types of players that we bought. I think they could have been in with a shout. But what is quite promising from my point of view, obviously this is why we've got you on, is the fact that it's the academy side to it. I mean, watching those young boys from under 18s and under 21s win an FA Cup youth final, and those players now are growing and they're getting more physical. They're turning from boys to men. No song included in that, boys to men. But it's that transition of now growing up, and we've got some very, very talented players on our books at the moment. Don't you agree, Mark?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, nothing to do with me, but I've coached most of them. But when you think about last year, the early part of last season, it was quite frustrating, personally, to think that we won the Youth Cup, won it well, 5-1 at Arsenal, to be fair, in case Callum didn't know that. But
he knows. I'll remind him every week.
But what I'm saying is, early part of last year, we won that 5-1. We didn't have one player in the squad, where Arsenal had two, maybe three at times. They had Skelly, they had Ethan Waring, they had the keeper as well, and we didn't have anyone. I mean, it's slightly changed, when the new gaffer come in, Ollie Scholes got involved, Lewis Alford got involved, and we've got Freddie Potts and George Urphy coming back. We've got Callum Marshall. We've got loads of good players, but it's such a big, although they really are good players, and you don't win the Youth Cup with having bad players, it's such a massive gulf to get over, to get from that, or even really doing well in the 21s league, to get into the first team. It really is. It's a massive gulf. I mean, Arsenal have done it quite well, with Ethan and Miles. They've done well to get in there. But I think next year, it seems they're predominantly midfield players. We've got Freddie Potts, George Urphy, and Lewis Alford, and Ollie Scholes is going to play wide left. But we've got players who just, sometimes it's a little bit of luck, at the right time, the right position comes available, like Callum Marshall, who's a proven goal scorer, could get on as a sub, score a goal, and never look back, and things like that. There is some luck involved in it. And I mean, like when you're a young fella, so you don't remember, Tony Cottee in 1983 come on as a 17-year-old sub, scored against Spurs, and never looked back, just scored for us the rest of his career, and then went to play with Everton and come back and play for us. So timing is all the importance. Although I'm involved in all the young players, and I'd like to get all of them, and I'm forgetting Callum Casey's the centre half's getting involved as well. You can't have a team of youth players because we'd obviously get slaughtered. It's the right time to drip them in and out, but that's what you want, and you want homegrown. Well, I personally do want homegrown West Ham lads playing for West Ham, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I echo that completely, Mark. I mean, for me, when someone describes what is the West Ham way to me is you're playing boys from in and around your area that are the blood of the club. They've been brought in. I mean, when you look at Bobby Moore and Frank Lampard Senior and Trevor Brooking, they're all East End boys, and they bled West Ham before they even kicked the ball, and that's what I hope to see now. I mean, I know Josh Collin, he's a South End boy, wasn't he? But all his family are West Ham, aren't they? And it's a shame when he left, and also Connor Coventry, another one. He's West Ham through and through, but we had to sell him because of the timing. But I'm hoping that this season is the season that we start integrating more of those academy products, because I think the fan base need it. Because they're losing the identity of the club by not having these boys in the squad. Like, I mean, it's not just like George Urphy, Lewis Alford, you've got, Freddie Potts, you've also got Junior Robinson, you've also got Ezra Myers, you've also got Dan Rigg, Golan Beckis as well, Bartram, Herrick. Like these names, like years ago, we would never be able to name 5 academy products that we think could be in contention in years to come, but now it's almost like 20 or 30 players that we could mention, and it's a credit to the academy. I mean, I've seen a huge improvement in our academy since Antonio Martinez was playing for the club at academy level. And yeah, I'd say it's a full credit. I mean, again, I want to thank him, Mark, because it's almost hope at the end of the night for a West Ham fan seeing the conveyor belt of players coming through.
Yeah, I do agree with you what you said about the Super Six there, or what that was called, the breakaway six. I think I would have liked to have seen them go. I'd have waved, give them a lift anywhere they wanted to go. See you later, and the rest of us would have had an even league. And I think it would have been, and we not because we'd have been one of the better teams in it, but it would have been a good league. And then you can start to blood more homegrown players, because if you remember, well, you don't remember because you're both quite young, but in 1992 when the Premier League first started, it was the FA Premier League, and the Premier League was started supposedly to be the betterment of the English national team, and it's actually detracted from it. We've got more foreign players than ever. We're not getting homegrown players through because you can't, because you get one through. It's a really big achievement, and I like it, what they call the bad old days, when it was mostly homegrown players playing for that local team.
Yeah, and it was a 22-team competition back then when it first started, wasn't it? And then it went down to 20, and there's also rumours about it reducing to 18 to be similar to the Bundesliga, to cut down on fixtures, and it's just insane. Like, I just like the way the whole Premier League has kind of flashed its knickers for the commercial side to it. I mean, that's why I think the Man City charges, alluded charges, have taken a lot of time, because when you think the Premier League have practically benefited from their investment abroad, because you got countries that like Brazil and in the Middle East and stuff are investing in the Premier League because they want to watch players that are from that area. So it's a tough call. It's like, they've benefited from Man City breaking those rules effectively.
Yeah, I mean, that is why I don't think Leicester City got enough credit for what they done in 2015, 16, whenever it was. They actually did break the mould, and they won the league from being a decent football team, which is what it's all about. I mean, as I say, when it was the first division before the Premier League was, you had times when QPR was second in the league and Wolves were up there and we come third and things like that. You know what I mean? So I'm a bit of an old fart, as they say, and I like the old days sort of stuff, like, personally.
Yeah. Well, Nottingham Forest came close. They just kind of flatlined towards the end of the season, didn't they? Otherwise, they would have been in Champions League football. And how big a club are they? I mean, winning it twice under Clough, like, it's insane. Like, hopefully, I think now that the more investment is coming into the Premier League, it's becoming more of it's starting to get more of a level playing field, because you're getting your Aston Villas now that are coming up, and Newcastle with their investment as well. It's almost going to be like, instead of a Big Six, it's going to be a Big Ten soon, and that's when it's going to be really competitive, I suppose, at the top.
See, Callum never answered my question about us being the top fans in the world, by the way. He sort of pulled a face and didn't say nothing.
What I wanted to say is it's the East End heart, isn't it? And I mean, I get that. It is. You turn up, whether you win or you lose. It's a do or die. I mean, I get that. Living, being brought up in the East End, just being, it's the culture, isn't it? It's just the streets and being around the people that are around there. Like, everyone looks after each other, and it doesn't matter if one person's in trouble on the road, everyone goes in and tries and helps out. Do you know what I mean? So I completely get it. So when you say it, and as you say, you turn up week in, week out, and I completely understand. Do you know what I mean? Like, all my family from us, we were talking about before we come on, they're all EastEnders. So no, I completely get it. So yeah, I'm not 100% going to say yes, but I'm going to say you're up there. I mean, I just want to quickly change subject on Adam, what you're saying about the top 10. Yeah, do you know what's sad though, is that's all done by money, isn't it? So you're going to say potentially it's going to be top 10 or whatever because it's making a level, but it's all done by investment. But wouldn't it have been nice to do, what Mark's been doing for 20 odd years, and have it a level playing field because of coaching and bleeding these players into the first team and doing it, and the reason why I say this is because obviously, for me as a kid, it was about playing football, and it was about, playing at the top level, reaching your dreams and all that. And I know, millions of boys in this country and probably every country around the world, that is their dream. Just imagine if we could flip it where it wasn't about the money and it was about actually Arsenal, you've got to coach the best players that you can in your area and then see if you can go win Champions League. Like, how special would that? I mean, that would be a dream, wouldn't it? Imagine having a league where you go, right, listen, everyone has the same money, yeah, and you have to coach your boys from 8 onwards, yeah, or whatever it is. What is it? You can start at 4 now, I think, and you can get an academy 4, yeah, all the way through, and you got a chance to go win the Champions League. That would be, I mean, it's never going to happen, but just, you know, for someone like Mark who's in it, yeah, and obviously all of us that dreamed of it, and then obviously our kids that we hope just enjoy football, go on and do something with football. That's what football was all about originally, wasn't it? Can you imagine being like the 50s, 60s, 70s when it would have been all homegrown players? Do you know what I mean? That must have been amazing as a fan. And that's when you used to have 100,000 people at Highbury, you know, or whatever it was, and, you know, all standing. Can you imagine?
And it will be interesting to see, because everyone goes on about what a great coach Pep is. Pep is a good coach, and he's brought some new innovations in as well. But can you imagine if ever, like the biggest commercial sport in the world is American football in America. That's the biggest money-making sport there is, and the wages they get. And they don't have relegation and promotion. They have the bottom team. They get the first pick of the draft, so it gives them the best. So then that would even them out with the top teams, and that's where the best coaches then come into play. It's not all about money, and we've got the best players. And it would be interesting. That's why I always thought, and a lot of my Arsenal mates didn't agree with me, I think Arsene Wenger was a fantastic coach. He was a great coach, and he was competing with other teams who have spent a lot more money than him. And that is why we're the same. West Ham, we're always competing with teams who have spent a lot more money than us. And there's certain teams like as I say, what Leicester done 10 years ago, fantastic achievement. And I'd rather it be about that, because it's a bit like, I don't like motor racing, but say motor racing, if you're paying all the money out for all the best parts and you've got the best car, you should win. You should win, shouldn't you? You spent the most money. But whereas in football, if you had all the team on an even keel, let's see who the best coach is. Let's see who the best coaches is with the same sort of players. If Pep's got, you know, a team playing against Sam Allardyce's team, let's see who the best coach is. It'll probably be Pep, actually, out of them two. But what I'm saying is, I'd love it to say I personally would take more interest in that.
Maybe that's what we need, get an investor, lads, and start our own league up. That's what we need to do.
Well, give us a call. I'm retiring soon. I'll come and work.
I've actually got a question, Mark, about sort of your coaching, and I was just wondering. I know for a period of time it was, or maybe even so now, it was all about, especially being in English football or British football, it was all about what's going on in Spain. What's the coaching like in Spain? And then there was a period of time, it's all about, you know, Dutch football and what they're doing, their philosophies. Like, did you ever get a chance to go and, you know, coach or learn from people? Or was there any influences that you had as a coach that you brought back into West Ham, or it's always been, you know, the you know, your philosophy of football and how you want it to play, and that's what you implement, or you go from, you know, the board and what they want, or like I say, did you ever get a chance to go abroad and have a look?
Yeah, I've been abroad with West Ham in various tournaments. I've been Holland, I've been America, I've been all over. But I think in this country, we're sort of, it sounds ridiculous, we're sort of bouncing back from the 1970s. Obviously, we won the World Cup in '66. I'm talking about West Ham now, not England. No, England, I'm joking. But we won the World Cup in '66, okay? And then after that, we haven't won anything. And it was always because what happened in the first division or the Premier League in the 70s, 80s, 90s, it was too much about power and pace. The technique wasn't there, and then we don't. Then it was all labelled. We don't keep enough possession. We don't keep enough possession, and then now we're possession mad. We don't go anywhere with the ball. So we're sort of always catching up, if you like, because sometimes, and Liverpool do it quite well. Sometimes the best ball's in behind someone. But some teams are embarrassed to play it. They want to play 5-yard passes in their own box because that's the way they're perceived to play. It doesn't get you in. It's just like, we've got to keep possession, have we? No, we've got to go and score some goals. That's the objective of the game, is to score goals. And there's lots of ways of doing it. I mean, I was brought up going to see West Ham in the 70s and 80s, you know, watching Trevor Brooking and Alan Devonshire and Billy Bonds and players like that. And our style of play was fantastic. But we mixed it up. And the same with Liverpool in the 70s. And Bill Shankly used to say this, you know, it's not a long ball game. It's not a short ball game. It's the right ball game. And that's how you play the game. You have to keep them guessing. So don't just have one style of play. And I think we're a little bit obsessed in this country at the moment. We're playing balls across our box, and you know, we've all got to be that the keeper's got to be good with his feet. Sometimes get it into to that third of the pitch and then play some football. I think we've become obsessed with it.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head, especially if you want to talk about Arsenal. You know, that is you pretty much summed up the way that Arsenal want to play. But then you look at someone when we played like PSG, probably the best ball for us that night was in and behind and turn them. You know, and let Xhaka and, you know, Martinelli run in behind them, and we did it. You know, we did it a couple of times, but you know, unfortunately, it wasn't we didn't get the rub of the green, and we didn't score the goals at the right time. But as you just said, I think that's a fantastic quote. You know, it's not this ball, that ball. It's the right ball for the moment, and yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, but yeah, I think as you say, we always seem to be chasing. It's like, oh, we see someone else do it, and now we've got to try and implement it here. You know, and I think that's even with the national team, not just in the Premier League, it's the national team as well.
I think more. I totally agree with you. I mean, for years we was playing against lots of teams in Europe. They'd always out-possession us, because we'd be trying to play their style against them when they're better at it. Like when you play Croatia and teams like that, we should be imparting our style on them, and sometimes going at them with pace, using wingers, going in behind them, using a robust centre forward. And then when we got the time and against other teams, then we can keep the ball. It's just we're just, I think the media to blame a lot with that, is obsessed with styles and things like that. I mean, Alf Ramsey, I'm going way back when, and I was only 5 myself. That's how long ago it was. Alf Ramsey wasn't concerned with what the media said or styles. Let's go and win the World Cup, and he did it. So there's certain ways of skinning a cat, as they say. Not that I want to skin a cat, I don't. But what I'm saying is, there's certain ways to do it, and it's not always the most purest style, maybe. And as I say, the media have a lot to answer for England performances, I think.
You've actually just reminded me of something, actually. I remember Sean Dyche saying something, and he said something along the lines of, everyone can have a style and every coach can have, a way they want to play. But ultimately, if we ain't got the team, if you ain't got the players to be able to play it, then you're never going to be able to do it. And I think sometimes, as you just said, England, we have certain style of players, and then we want to play this ticky-tacky football or whatever, but we haven't got the players to do that. And you've got to almost look at the squad that you've got. And maybe the West Ham get sucked into this as well when you talk about, why West Ham are not doing so well. You last season, you got this manager in wanting to play this ticky-tacky football, but then didn't necessarily have all the players you needed to be able to play that. But what you should be doing is looking at the players that you got and playing the best system for that team. Because then ultimately, if they're comfortable in that position, or comfortable playing them balls or making them runs, they're going to play better, aren't they? And I think that's where we get stuck.
And I can counteract that and go back on another sphere of it. When football was about power and pace and strength and that, Glenn Hoddle, I know he played for the other mob, was an absolutely world-class footballer. The England team should have been based around Glenn Hoddle, I'm telling you. But because he couldn't run past people and because he couldn't go back and make tackles, he wasn't getting in the England team enough, where he should have been because of his technical ability. So it can counteract. In my era, Hoddle should have been in the team a lot better, a lot more because of his technical ability. But everyone's got their own opinion on the game. That's what makes it so good. I like to have different sort of ways of playing during a game because to drop another name now, Tony Carr, pick his name off the floor. Tony Carr always used to say, if you're in a game and you're losing the game, just change it. Change your system, change your personnel, or change it because you're not winning the game, you're losing the game, and something will happen from that. And he's normally always right. Something will happen from just changing a certain player or changing the shape of the team, and then you play from there. It's not a game of chess football. It's played with passion, as you see it at the time.
Do you think managers at the top level are scared to do that now because of the money, because of the backlash?
Yeah, yes, but then I think they are. But then you've got the likes of, there's so many managers who are on the in the terraces. You should be doing this. I mean, listen, I'm West Ham through and through. All my mates are. I go and stand there watching a game with my mates sometimes. They go, we should be doing this. We should be doing that. And I'm thinking, what a load of crap. What are you talking about? What are you don't know what you're on about. Not that I'm a coach and I know much more than them, but they've just seen a different game to me. I'm thinking, if we do that, we'll be absolutely wide open. They'll just play through us. So there's obviously certain things, you sort of contradicting what I just said there, but you can't just play an open, expansive game against certain teams. But what do I know? I'm only a youth team coach with a bald head. I don't know that much about the game.
Well, that's interesting. What's your obviously England under 21s qualified for the final of the Euros, and they're going to be playing Germany on Saturday. What's your opinion on the under 21 squad at the moment, then, and the sort of youth products that they've got at the moment?
Yeah, done fantastic. You can only do getting into a final of any tournament you're in is fantastic and well done. I think the 21s play the ball forward a bit quicker than the first team do, and then they take more risks, and you've got to take risks to win football matches. I think a coach I worked with for a good few years at West Ham, Kevin Keane, had a simple philosophy of play forward, run forward. And then you think, what's he on about? Play forward, run forward. And when you think about it, that's the game. Play forward, run forward. If you've got possession, play forward, run forward. They're not going to score against you if you're running and playing that way. And I think sometimes simplify things. And that when we won the Youth Cup, I was Kev's assistant. Have I told you that? Anyway, but play forward, run forward. You can't go far wrong with that. I really do believe in that. So sometimes just simplify that and look to pass to someone in the same colour shirt as you are, who's further forward up the pitch. Simple as that sometimes. Simple as that.
What do you reckon our chances are winning it on Saturday?
I think good. I think good. We'll always be set up with a few set pieces. I think we'll probably win the game 4-2, and Jeff Hurst will get 3 and Peters will get the other one.
Yeah, but there's no free hammers on this side, sadly, Mark.
Actually, Mark, do you know what is actually quite sad? That how many of them play? I know that obviously there are a few now that are already playing in their Premier League teams. Yeah, maybe not consistently, but are having bits and parts games. Sorry, how many of them do you think will actually go on, one, to play for their club, but actually then go on to have a decent professional career?
I think they'll have decent professional careers. I wonder if they'll have decent international careers for the first team. That's what the 21s is really. It's building them up to play for their country. I don't know. I think, as I said before, the risk taking, it gets taken out of it and we're all safe. I mean, sometimes I've watched England play. It's not Southgate's fault. I mean, under this other geezer, Thomas Tuchel as well, they're absolutely woeful to watch, aren't they? Terrible. And Declan Rice, one of my favourite players, is playing in it. So I just think Kevin Keane, play forward, run forward. I really think it's as simple as that. I really do. But it's obviously not as simple as that, as that's what they would do. But that's what I would like to take more risks. And how many times have you watched games when the ball's played round the back and we've gone backwards and it happens? They want to be careful. They don't is it kill the golden goose or whatever you want to call it? And people get bored of watching all that sort of football. They want to be careful of it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, when Tuchel was announced as the head coach, I was quite excited because I thought, you know what, they're probably going to say, well, okay, we're going to get a really good coach here, play progressive football, be more attacking, be more gung ho. And now I'm thinking, I wish I want Lee Carsley back doing it now, because obviously he's doing well with the under 21s, and what Tuchel has done is he's reverted back to type in terms of getting a 35-year-old Jordan Henderson in the squad and Carl Walker, but it's stopping again, it's the conveyor belt of talent, isn't it? You're stopping the next gen stepping up and letting them have the opportunity to do it. I mean, Henderson's had it. He's had his time and trying to win a trophy for England, and now it's about encouraging the next talented crop who seem to be winning trophies at youth level.
I mean, to be fair, since Tuchel's took over, they are absolutely woeful. They're terrible. They're awful to watch. But if England win the World Cup next year, you won't give a monkeys about what happened 18 months previous, and nor will I. So let's see how he gets on. It's just getting over that final in tournaments. I mean, Gareth Southgate got us in finals, but we just couldn't win anything, could we? So I don't know. I mean, it's horrible to watch. I mean, if I used to go everywhere with England, I used to follow them everywhere. But now, if England, I miss England games if they're on telly. It's horrible. Won't even get involved in it. But if they win the World Cup, I'll be there, Union Jack in hand, beer in the other hand, jumping up and down like a nutcase. But we'll have to wait and see.
It's just the funny thing is, Mark, is that the beer in our hand will be like German beer, sadly, in massive steins. My old man, he's been very against the appointment, and he's gone in protest and not watching them anymore. But I'm just like, Dad, grow up, mate. But I get his point. He wants England to win the World Cup.
How old's your dad?
My dad's just turned 60.
Well, he's about the same age as me, so he's probably got the same philosophy and ideas on the game as I have. I mean, obviously, an English manager should come from East London, and all the team should come from East London, but that's not really going to happen. But what I'm saying is, an English manager should be an Englishman, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we've gone through that process before, haven't we? And so we had Sven, we had Capello, and now we've got Tuchel, and I can't remember. Did we have any other foreign managers? I don't think so. But Southgate, I think, brought that. He made us feel proud to be English, didn't he? Although he failed at the final hurdle, but it almost like, yeah, we got our backing with him now, you know, and obviously he got the media on his side as well.
I might have a solution for this. So, is Boothroyd still in and around the England setup?
I think he's not.
He's not.
Don't think.
Because I assume, because I know that he obviously went from Watford and went and worked with different levels at the England. And I assumed that they were going to try and do with him what they did with Southgate and sort of bleed him into then. And so he's not. No, he's.
No, they from Mark. From my understanding is that he had a really bad under-21s tournament, and he had Foden, he had Eze, he had all those players, and they didn't even get out of the group. So I think because of that, he got sacked, and then that's when Lee Carsley took over the reins to what is being done now.
Yeah, I think that's right. And it's funny, Boothroyd was manager of Watford. Do you remember when he had? I mean, his style then was absolutely get it in the box, elbows out, and see how we get on. And then when he went with the FA, he went all the other way and played football, played for the third. So, fair due him, he done all right, the fella. But anyway, I won't go into Boothroyd.
The reason why Cal was brought that up is because Callum was at Watford as a youth player, and Sean Dyche was his youth manager, whilst Adi Boothroyd was the head honcho at Watford. But Callum also played for Boreham Wood as well as a goalkeeper.
Oh, so you played at a decent level then, Cal, didn't you?
Yeah, sorry, yeah, tried to. Yeah, I don't know if I'd say played, but yeah, I tried my best. I had a go. Loved every minute of it. Miss it every single day. But yeah, no, I was very lucky. Very, very blessed. Yeah, and just absolutely loved every minute of it. So, yeah. And
I have to say that don't put yourself down like that. To play at that level, you was a decent fella. I'm telling you. I've never seen you in my life, but to play at that level, you're a good footballer. You think about all the leagues below that, everyone trying to get to where you got. People don't realise it's hard to play at that level. And as a bloke, I think Sean Dyche is a good, decent fellow, actually, quite a funny man. I quite like him.
Yeah, he was fantastic. I mean, I can't speak. I've said before, I've never felt so calm playing football. Like, he just took all pressure off. It was just, as you just said, right at the beginning, sorry, about just enjoying it. And I suppose I was that generation of like, oh, you got to make it, you got to make it, you got to make it. And I just remember being, playing under him, and he was just, mate, just go and play. I've never felt so calm playing football. Yeah, fantastic. So yeah, I say I miss it every day, but that's another story.
That is nice to hear, but unfortunately, I've got to run my missus back to Brentwood, and she's knocking on the door saying, "When you going to be finished?" So I might have to go, James.
No, that's fine, mate. I mean, I think we've gone 10 minutes over anyway, but I'll tell you what, we'll let you go, mate. Thanks again for coming on. Hopefully we can chat again soon, and just I say, keep in touch, mate. It's been really a pleasure to have you on. It's been really good, mate. Maybe we could get Declan on with you next time.
I'll have a word with
him. God bless you, Mark.
Yeah, cheers, chaps.
All the best, mate. God bless you. Bye.
What a lad.
Yeah, that is very cool. There were so many other questions I wanted to ask, but I didn't have the bottle to ask them.
Yeah, there's a few there that the thing is, you got to remember that he's in a full-time job at West Ham United, so
I tried for you, mate. I tried to set you up to try and get a bit of information.
I won't ever going to get it, mate. I won't ever going to get it. The thing is, you got to remember that he's employed by the club. He has to be careful what he says. If he says something stupid, not stupid, but something that could be taken in the wrong manner on our small little podcast, I would not want to bear that burden over my head.
He said he's got a couple more years and he's going to retire anyway.
Yeah, that's what he said. That's what he said, didn't he? That's what he said. But, maybe when he retires, he could let us know the ins and outs. But
do you know what, Adam? Yeah, it would have been amazing. Yeah, to ask him a lot more questions about the academy, their philosophy, how they structure things, how they look at. That's what I wanted to know. I know I sort of asked a question, but obviously you don't want to tell them secrets either, because obviously that's how they've got such a successful youth team system. Do you know what I mean? If he's been there for 20 odd years, which that's no mug. In that sort of level, when you're competing to basically produce players. And him being there that long, he obviously knows what he's talking about. He's obviously a fantastic coach, or man management or whatever it is. I mean, that's no joke.
No, I mean, and what I like about Mark, and I've said this to him on a phone call, is that he installs what is the most important thing about a player playing for this club. And what he's doing is he's expressing his passion and his love for the club, and he's quite infectious. So any player that comes and coaches underneath him, they want to come in and play for West Ham, which is why Declan has taken to West Ham in his heart, because Phillips has had that influence over him. And Phillips is not just Declan. There's plenty of West Ham players there that have gone through that process at the club that want to play for this club, and that's why I think the academy is so important in now as we look for a new recruitment process. And yeah, I say I think it's brilliant. I think it's such a good thing to have.
It sort of made me laugh a little bit. He basically said it's what happens to all Arsenal players when they come to the end of their career. They go and join West Ham.
Well, they did,
and Declan Rice already got it set up.
Yeah, but yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Let's say Freddie Ljungberg, Davor Suker,
Wilshere,
Nigel Winterburn,
Ian Wright,
Wilshere, Wright.
Ian Wright, Winterburn.
Yeah,
I'm
pretty sure there's loads.
Can I just say, that was such a cool chat. It's almost like it's really sad. I wish we had more of a chat with a beer with the cameras off, because I think I can imagine him he's got a few Jack and Norries.
We can do that. I've got his details, so if you wanted to have a chat with him or whatever. I was on the phone to him for like 2 hours, teeing him up to get him on the show, and he was saying to me, "Oh, who are you? Are you some sort of agent?" I went, "No, mate, I'm a fan," because obviously I knew a lot about football and the sort of logistics and commercial side. I'm an anorak, is what I was told, but it's So I was saying that to him, and he was like, "Mate, you're in the wrong job." He said, "What do you do for a job?" I went, "I'm an architect." He went, "Mate, you should be in football." I'm like, well, I take that as a pleasure, but I like my architecture, so I'll leave it with that. But yeah, I think he's
never
great,
say never, Adam. Never say never.
No, never. But no, I'm going to say what sort of bloke. But going on from that, I mean, did you watch the under-21s the other night?
Yeah, I watched some of it. I did watch some of it, and I do. I mean, it gives you hope, doesn't it? But then to do it back to back in European Cups, to win it last time and get back into the final and potentially, regain it.
Yeah,
is pretty special, isn't it? So, I'll definitely be watching it on Saturday. Obviously, being against Germany as well that brings that the old firm ready, and it's the old derby, So I think everyone will be watching it as well. To be honest with you,
yeah, 100%.
Like,
The thing is that 2 years ago when they won it, just before the other Euros, like they had Palmer, they had Gibbs White, Liam Delap, Taylor Hardwood Bellis and James Trafford, and now all those players now have stepped up into the senior squad, and now we've got Joel Quanzo, who's on the verge of going to Bayer Leverkusen, Charlie Cresswell, who's at Toulouse. You've got Simkin, you've got Beadle, the two goalkeepers. You've got Harvey Elliott, who wants to leave Liverpool, and he's been linked with a move to West Ham over the past 24 hours as well. Jonathan Rowe, Jay Stansfield, like this.
Nweri
He's in it as well, isn't he? Like it's scary. Livramento, who's been in the senior squad as well, and when they beat Netherlands a couple of nights ago 2-1, a lot of those under 21s for Netherlands have been playing for the senior squad. I think something like 5 or 6 of those in the starting lineup have been playing for the full men's team. You think we just turned them over 2-1 with basically a B-side England youth, because a lot of them are at the FIFA Club World Cup, aren't they? So yeah, it's Joe Bennett. You think Joe Bellingham, Liam Delap ain't even in that squad, and we got to the final again.
Yeah, Skelly. Crazy.
Future's bright, mate. That's why we got.
The trouble is, if they get bled in, this is what's sad, isn't it? Yeah. That it's what I really, really wanted to ask him, right? Because I look back a lot now, and he sort of touched on that mentality. Yeah, it's almost like being the freak within the freaks. You know what I mean? And like Cristiano Ronaldo is one of them, where his mentality is just ridiculous. And probably Declan Rice, and let's be honest, anyone playing at the elite level are probably there. But then you've got the freaks of the freaks who are like next level, like Messi and Ronaldo, even the next level above that. And I think Declan's probably going to be that player in the years to come, and hopefully bleed that into the Arsenal team and lead that in the Arsenal team as well. But I'd love to know, because obviously in my brief little spell playing football, we used to do sessions just on psychology, and we do sessions where there'd be like 30 different rules, and everyone had their own rules within the rules, and you had to remember whose rules was what, and it's basically how you deal with pressure. Yeah. And we had like heart monitors on, and I just remember going, Jesus Christ, this is amazing, absolutely amazing. And that was nearly 20 years ago. 20 years ago. Yeah. What are they doing now? And how they, you talk about that step up and preparing. Ultimately, that's what they're going to do, because they're all good players, and there's no mugs. No one is actually, you're not playing at that level without having a bit about you. But it's having that mentality to then step up, and what they do in preparing them mentality-wise. What do you think? Like Saka talks openly about, he's got a counsellor, he's got a psychologist, he's got, but what are they doing session-wise and implementing that? And I only know that because of the sessions that we did around that. What are they doing now must be special. I mean, I'd love to be on a wall. And, you talk about development and, our understanding. We're behind the curtain now, which is, sad. I'd love to know what they're doing now. It must be amazing. And he's obviously, he knows it from when they just started bleeding that in to, now he must have seen a transition. It must have been fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, must be great. Okay, shall we wrap it up there then, Cal? Have an early night, and then
sounds good to me, mate.
And then we can officially start series 2 of our podcast next week. Next week.
Well, what are we talking about next week?
Well, it's 1st of July, so we're in the back end of that year, transitioning into.
Is this? We're going to be talking about all the signings that Arsenal haven't made.
Yeah, that's it. So we'll give it another week. Give it a few days in July. But apparently you're after, I think Kepa had his medical on yesterday. I think that's due to be confirmed on Monday. Zubamendi's due to be confirmed on Tuesday, I believe, and Norgard. I think Norgard's going to be done at the weekend. So, yeah, 3 signings for Arsenal.
And no striker?
No striker, no. But you've got Marino up top, so we don't need one.
Mate, scored more goals than some of the strikers in the end of our season, mate.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
And now he's had a whole pre-season to know what it's like to play there.
There you go.
Have you not seen? They've had Henry come in. They've had Drogba come in over the summer to train him. Yeah, have you not seen that? Van Nistelrooy's been in.
Drogba.
Yeah, Drogba and Van Nistelrooy's been at the Arsenal training him.
Training who?
Marino.
No, I'm not having this. As if Van Nistelrooy would go to fucking Arsenal. Yeah, Martin Keown drove him there, did he?
Yeah. Let's start a rumour. Can I just say that is not true, everyone? Yeah, I know we're on the live, but it's not true.
We're not liable.
No.
All right then, mate. Well,
right,
I'll see you
Saturday. Yeah. Oh, have I got to bring anything? Well, I know I've got to bring something, but anything in
particular? Smile, mate. Just a smile.
All right. And then we'll let everyone know about our weekend on Thursday.
Yeah, we'll do.
We're probably just recovered by then.
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully.
Also, Adam, listeners, it's official. We are going on tour. Yeah. If you've got any recommendations, we are doing the Dad's Our Job pod. Yeah, abroad. We're going to go watch the game abroad. So if you've got any clubs, it don't have to be a massive club like Real Madrid. Yeah, but if somewhere in Germany, Holland, we are going on tour. Yeah, and we want to do a couple different games this season abroad. So let us know in the comments or DM us or Instagram us. The boys are going away. Like I say, any good atmospheres at any clubs that you go, yeah, you need to go and experience this. Let us know. All right.
Let us know. I mean, we got an eye on the Bundesliga. I think that seems to be the go-to. Obviously, I like the beer, and we've just literally slagged off Thomas Tuchel, but I'll go there for the beer. Werder Bremen is the priority at the minute, but we'll see what we can come up with. But yeah, let's see what happens, mate.
Cool. All right, mate. Have a good night.
Anyway, thanks everyone for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week for another Thursday Night Live. See ya.
Hola, and we cheer, and we spill a bit of beer. Raise a glass to the past and the mates who ain't here. From Highbury to Upton Park, it's now Ashburton and Stratford for a lark. It's the Old Dad's Our Job podcast, the heart of the game.